Hello and welcome to Life on Pig Row on a very wet and blustery day. So we're in the greenhouse because it's kind of a good place to be when it's wet and blustery outside, but also at this time of year it's so easy to forget your greenhouse because it's just ticking along. So I'm going to show you a few tips about tomatoes today, how to keep on top of the crop, how to notice signs of disease, and also how to get your tomatoes to start turning red. Okay, let's have a look at that then. So probably quite a few of you are faced with this at the moment, and God bless us, gardeners do always overplant their greenhouses. No matter what we say every year that we're going to do less and less and less, but we end up planting more and more and more. So these are my tomatoes. They're spaced around 18 inches apart, but as you can see, there's a lot of foliage on there, and really at this time of year you don't want a lot of foliage, you want a lot of crop, you want a lot of tomatoes, and you want them to start turning red. So a really easy way of doing that is by starting to strip off the bottom leaves, and I'm going to show you that now and how to do it. So all you need for this is a pair of secateurs or a pair of snippers. I'm using a pair of snippers, or you can use a knife. I'm a bit lax at using a knife because I tend to cut the string by accident. And all it is really is you're going in right up to the stem and you cut them off and you remove. And you keep doing this up and down. So let's remove, there's no need for these anymore. See what I mean? Very easy. I nearly took off a tomato truss then. And then going down, taking the leaves off. I'm going all the way down there. And I'm going to remove it halfway up now, and I'm going to show you what it looks like when it's finished. A nice tip as well to keep away nasty bugs that may affect your tomatoes is planting tagetes. These are tagetes. They are very aromatic. This is lemon gem. Absolutely wonderful, the scent in the greenhouse on a warm day. Even on a cold day, it's really heady. And this supposedly deters green fly, black fly, white fly. And for us, it has worked. We've had years where we haven't planted this and we've had problems with white fly. Straight away, you'll notice a massive difference in the light levels, and that will help ripen your tomatoes. They need light now, and light levels are now declining. So we want these green tomatoes to turn red. Now I'm going to show you a few common problems with tomatoes that you may have come across this year. Also, you know you've pruned really well if your fingers look like this. Smell the tomatoes, but they've all gone black. Don't panic, it does come off with a nice scrub of some soap and water, and if you really can't get it off, all you do is get a really ripe tomato. I know there's not many of them in the moment, and you crush it and you rub it on your hands and it all comes off. Now let's look at some of the common problems. So we're going to start with something that's often mistaken for blight. I don't know if you can see that there. We've got a crispy leaf at the end that's known as necrosis, and basically the leaf has died. It's shutting itself off. Here we are, can you see it there down the stem? I think it's called a petiole off the top of my mind. If I'm wrong, please forgive me, it's been a long time since I've done leaf science. And that's basically the plant protecting itself. Now, I know why this happened. This was right against the glass, and temperatures do fluctuate in the UK, and they do fluctuate around the world, especially if you're using greenhouses. So this was touching the glass, and it was getting baked, then it was getting cold, baked, cold, and the plant went, you know what, I give up. I'm going to close that leaf off and let it die. Now you could just prune that bit off and it'll be fine, and the leaf will carry on doing its job for photosynthesis. But it is an entrance way to blight. And we're going to look at blight next, because you do sometimes get blight on your tomatoes, and you can hopefully, if you're lucky, nip it in the bud. This, can't believe I'm holding it, is blight. There we go, you can see it now. It is black, it starts out brown, goes to black, and then goes incredibly slimy really quickly. I'm going to discard this in a bonfire and get rid of it. Do not add it to your compost heap. Your compost heap is not hot enough to kill it. That's blight. And how did I get rid of it? It was only on one leaf in all my tomatoes. I cut it off straight away, and fingers crossed that I will get a crop. And to make sure I get a crop, this is what I've done to the tomato. I'm going to show you now what I've done to it. I have removed every leaf on the plant bar one, which is near the top, and hopefully that will give the time for the tomatoes to turn red, and they're already turning red because they're under stress, so that's a good sign. And once the tomatoes are done, that whole vine will be dug out and taken to the bonfire. Finally, it brings us into another kind of stress that you'll find in your plants at this time of year. It should be this time of year, no earlier really. And this is it. Can you just see it here? It's starting, it's very hard to show you, starting to go pale down the veins, and it's yellowing, and this leaf will eventually go completely yellow and drop off. And that is feeding. Simple as that. It's a nitrogen deficiency. It's an all-round NPK deficiency, and that's nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. So it's really important that you keep feeding your tomatoes weekly. I feed mine on a Friday, so I can remember. So it's Feed a Friday, so I don't forget. And that's a good way of remembering. If you don't feed your plants, this will happen. But it'll also happen at this time of year, because really we're heading into autumn. The plants know it, and they're putting everything into growing the tomatoes and nothing into leaves, and this will happen. So just cut them off. You know, it's about bringing in light now, so you don't have to worry too much about it at the moment. And finally, I'll look at one of the fruits and the common problem with the fruit, and I've got the double whammy here for you. I've got what is called blossom end rot and splitting. You can see it here. In fact, I can actually split it apart. There you go. It's gone quite easily. The reason for that is water and watering. Now, blossom end rot. Everyone goes on about Epsom salts, putting them on. I'll tell you now, it will not work. It is a calcium deficiency in the plant. It's going to be really hard to correct it at this stage. Suck it up and don't grow that variety next time. And try another variety. So this is for us a beefsteak variety. I don't know why I keep trying to grow beefsteak varieties. I've only got a small greenhouse. It's only 8 by 12. Believe it or not, that is small for beefsteak. And they always struggle, and this always happens. No matter how much we water them, they end up splitting. And we've tried them all over the greenhouse. So this year I've purposely grown some beefsteak down that end, and everything else is either a yellow variety tomato or a small cherry type tomato. So that's it. It's split. It's about watering. I did water. The plant didn't take it up. What can you do? There's always next year. So don't worry about it. It's experimentation. To show you what I mean about experimentation, I'll just show you something very quickly. So this year I grew some courgettes from seed, and they failed. So I had to go to the garden centre, and I bought myself a courgette plant, shocker. And I thought, well, I'll plant it in the greenhouse, see how it goes on. Oh, whoa! It's really loved it. And that's experimentation. And I put it next to tomatoes, and yeah, maybe it's affected the tomatoes a little. And next year I'll probably plant just tomatoes on this side and courgettes on the other side, and alternate them back and forth for a few years. But we have fluctuating temperatures outside because we're on the hillside, and this is the first year we've been going, you know what, I'm sick of courgettes, and that's a great place to be because you can give them away. And this is only one plant, and we've had so far, I would say, a good dozen or so of them, and it's still going strong. So what next? To make my tomatoes happy? Well, I'm going to show you a neat trick that you can all go out and do today, and it involves the comfrey plant. So I've just collected a load of these. This is comfrey. It's also known as nip or knit bone as well. You'll find it called different things. Got a whole trug of it here. So what am I going to do with it? Well, I'm going to tear it up. Look at that, tear it up. Like so, tearing it. I mean, you really don't need to see this. It's quite therapeutic, really. Oh, I like the way it does. So you're just tearing it up. Oh, the juices are flowing through my fingers. For those of you having your tea at the moment, we're going, oh my god, I can't believe you just said that. So, there we are. So, there's my torn up bucket. See, I was tearing it off. I wasn't just doing something quite weird off camera. Torn up comfrey. What am I going to do with it now? Well, I'm going to show you. Not off camera, on camera. I'm going to take my comfrey and I'm going to mulch around my plants like so. All around the plants. There we go. And there we go. That's one bucket, and each one will get one bucket each. Make sure it's not touching the stem. We're going to mulch around, not create problems, and that will do two things. It'll keep down weeds. It will then break down and will feed the plant. So it's an extra boost for it, and it will really improve the soil. And believe it or not, it will help these little blighters turn red. So, what's the science in that? In the comfrey leaf? Well, it's packed full of potassium, and potassium helps flowers set fruit, and it also helps it to develop fruit as well. It's a nice little feed for the plant, and it keeps down the weeds. That's it. That's pretty much not everything I know about tomatoes, but quite a lot, and hopefully it's helped you. So until next time, don't forget the obligatory like and subscribe, guys, or just drop in. We're here every Saturday. Until next time, bye bye.